So today's video is going to be a little different. I want to go over the 3 trades that I took today. So the first trade I took was on live. It was this short here. So initially, because we were pushing from a daily fair value gap, I was bullish. But having seen this move just run, I felt like we were pretty extended and the prudent thing to do would be to wait. We also had news, so that was another reason why I didn't join in on this run. But we were taking out buy side on the daily, such as this previous low, and then we even tapped into this wick, and that was where I was looking for some rejection. So what I was thinking in the moment was that we pushed up into this wick and now we're pushing down. I saw this as the break of structure and this as the impulsive candle along with this movement, and then wanted to get in on the retracement of this fair value gap. I was still able to get 2.5 points because I was managing my trade and I saw it coming back up, so I took it here. Looking at it now, I see the mistakes that I made. The first mistake was not waiting for liquidity. While I had this premium PD array marked out, I didn't wait for the liquidity grab. So essentially the market moves to do 2 things: fill inefficiencies or imbalances and grab liquidity. So us running up into this wick was filling an imbalance. Perfect, I got that. But what I didn't wait for was now the liquidity. I found that when I'm getting impatient or I'm trying to force a trade, I move to the lower time frames too quickly. That's what I did here. I moved to the 1 minute, it took these highs, that was the liquidity, and this is the push down. But what I should have done was stay on the higher time frames, and I find 5 minutes is good enough. This is more of a liquidity grab. You see that it pumped up once, it came up twice here, creating equal highs, and then it pumped up 1 more time for the 3rd time, and then it pushed down. And you can see how obvious it is on the 5 minute, right? The 3rd mistake was mistaking equal lows or equal highs as a break of structure. So I've found with backtesting that equal lows and equal highs are not a reliable break of structure. In the moment, I don't think I noticed it, but in hindsight, I see that this was an equal low. You see here, when we take it out here, you can see it's an obvious swing. Had I been patient and waited for the right setup, this is the setup. So we push up into the consequent encroachment on the daily, which is filling an imbalance. Then we push up, creating equal highs, come down and push up 1 more time, just barely taking this out as liquidity, and then coming down with an impulsive candle, leaving a fair value gap. And then that was the sign that, okay, there's a trade here. The entry, so we didn't necessarily go all the way up to this fair value gap, but we did create a lot of this liquidity here that was grabbed on this high. Another liquidity that I like to use is the lunch high or lunch low. So we took out lunch highs as well as digging into this, and then we come down. Then you go down to the lower time frames, and you see here on the 3 minute we have this bearish fair value gap. So you see we took the liquidity, we pushed down, created this fair value gap, breaking this, and then you can enter once, twice, and then it comes down, right? And you target the most recent low, and that would have been the trade for the day, right? That was the setup. But what I went and did when I got off stream, I started to feel FOMO. So during the stream, I heard people telling me they made so much profit off this move, and I guess when I got off stream, I really wanted to get a chunk of that move. I felt like, oh, I missed it. So immediately when I got off stream, I wanted to take a trade. Normally when I finish the stream, I get ready for the day, I make breakfast, and then I trade after lunch. But today I stayed on the computer. If you look at this on the bigger time frame, it is cleared. I had an original bias of short. In the stream, you see me, I'm only wanting to sell short, but I don't know why I get off the stream and I immediately want to go long. And that's the FOMO. What I did was I stayed on the 1 minute because that's where I was for my previous trade. We were pushing up. The morning was so bullish and we were so close to my next target. We also left equal highs, right? So that was what I was looking at. I was on the 1 minute. I saw this wick as liquidity and I saw the push up and I joined on this fair value gap. Now it looks great on the 1 minute, but like I said, you should not be formulating your trades on the 1 minute. You only go down to the lower time frames once it's validated on the higher time frames. So that was the first mistake that I made. I entered on this lower time frame PD array. Okay, it doesn't hold much weight. Another mistake that I made was it's past 11, so the kill zone is over, so I should not be trading during this time. So after this loss, what I should have done was go make breakfast, come back after lunch. And I said that in my recording, but I didn't. I continued to see this come down. I stayed at the charts and I did not move from my desk. So as I was watching it, I saw that we came into this fair value gap, taking out this low. And again, I was on the 1 minute, and then I see us drop down. I see that as liquidity grab, and then this is the push up, right? But what I'm missing is the break of structure. This fair value gap is not aligned with this break of structure, so it's not valid. The second mistake was trading right before lunch or after the kill zone. So ICT tells you to only be trading during the kill zones because that has the most volume, the algorithm is working at that time, etc., etc. And you can just get chopped up. The third mistake was trading against my bias. I also just took a losing trade here and I try to force it again after letting it come down for maybe only like 15 minutes. I didn't, that's not enough time. I was married to the bias. Instead, what I should have done was, okay, I got stopped out here. Let's reanalyze and see, is this bias correct? What mistakes did I make? I should be reanalyzing before I even go in, and I didn't. I just watched price. I was determined to get a winning trade in. I was determined to profit off this run. Okay, so those were the 3 trades that I took. And now what did I do right? So what I did right was stopping at my daily loss limit. I saw that I was down 2R on the day and I realized I need to stop. Obviously easier said than done, so I still wanted to trade and I told myself, fine, you can trade, but only on micros. But even then, I told myself that the setup had to be an A+ setup. It turns out that I had a setup and it did play out, but I was hesitant. I wasn't confident in that setup and I couldn't trust myself because of the past 2 losses, and so I stayed out of the trade. That was just me knowing that I should not be trading when I'm not emotionally good, mentally, physically, etc., etc. But so I'm glad that I was able to manage my risk today and manage my emotions. Old me would have just continued hammering full size on minis and probably would have hit Topstep's daily loss limit or even blown the account. So I definitely learned a lot today and I hope you did too. Let me know in the comments what you think of this type of format, if you prefer just seeing me take the trades throughout the day or if you prefer more of this reflection and sort of teaching. I hope you guys have a great weekend and I will see you next week.